Welcome back to our Beatrice YouTube channel. Today's class we are going to be learning how to make this beautiful 1440 wavy peplum. Okay, it's going to be wavy and we are not going to be adding any place to it, so we're just going to achieve this with our actual waist measurement, and it's going to come out this beautiful and wavy. If this is something you like to learn, kindly stay tuned to the end of this tutorial. Thank you. Okay, so making a 1440 degree peplum is simple and similar to 120. Okay, so we are making 1440. Remember that a full circle flare is 360 degree. So in this case we are making 1440. If you divide 1440 by 360, you're going to get 4, which means we need to cut 4 circle to get our 1440. So similarly, the measurement you need is your waist measurement. That is what you're going to use to get your radius. So the waist I'm working with in this case is 30 inches, and then the length of your peplum. So I want the length of my peplum to be 8 inches including allowance. Okay, so now for this waist measurement, which is 30, we are going to cut out 4 circle. Okay, so you have to you need to have 1, 2, 3, 4, each of which is 360 degree to get your 1440. So that means that these 30 inches that we have here, we have to divide this by 4. Okay, your waist measurement have to be divided by 4. So dividing your waist measurement by 4, I'm going to have 7.5 for my waist. Sorry about the marker. So now my waist measurement is 7.5, and you know that for each of the circle, to cut a flare for each of your circle, you need to divide your waist to get your radius. Okay, to get the radius of each of the circle, you need to divide your waist by 6.28, which is a constant. So now for 144 degrees peplum, you need to first divide your waist by 4 to get the radius for each of the circles. Remember we said we are going to be cutting 4 circles. So now we are going to be dividing the 7.5 that we have already divided by 4, now not the 30 inches. So now dividing 7.5 by this constant of 6.28, I'm going to get about 1.19, 1.2 thereabouts, but for the sake of allowance, because I need the seam allowance to join this. Remember, these 4 circles are going to be separate, so I need them to join them together to make them one single peplum. So because of that allowance, the 1.19 that I have, I'm going to approximate it into 1.25, which is the closest I can get on my tape rule. So now to cut out my peplum, I'm going to cut out 4 flare, of which each of them, the radius is going to be 1.25 inches, and then the length is going to be my 8 inches. Okay, so for this tutorial I'm going to be using this as my lining, and that is what I'm going to cut on as well, because it's a plain fabric and it's going to show better than the main fabric, which is the Ankara print. So to fold my fabric, I know that I need a fabric that will be enough to take both my radius and my flare. So adding this together now, I'll have 9.25. So I'm going to bring in my fabric and measure out 9.25. We can approximate that to 10. Okay, so now here I'm measuring 10 inches, and on that mark I'm going to fold into 2 like this. Then after folding into 2, I'll fold into 4 again. Remember, this is a full circle flare. So to fold a full circle flare, you need to first fold into 2. Then after folding into 2, you fold into 4. So now my fabric is folded into 4. The first thing I'm going to remove is my radius, which is thickest, is 1.25. So from this origin here, I'm going to measure 1.25 all round. Okay, the radius is going to be small, and that is going to give it that beautiful wavy effect that you see in 1.2 or in 144 degree peplum. So I'm not going to be adding extra to this because I don't really need to pleat it to get those wavy effects that I need. So from here now, I'm going to take my length measurement, okay, which is 8 inches. So I want to check if I have up to 9 inches here as well. I'm just going to change it to 9 inches. So here I'm taking my waist measurement of my length measurement, the length of my peplum. Now I've changed it to 9 inches, and that is what I am measuring around. So now after measuring your 9 inches all around, you're going to connect like this, and then you take your scissors and cut this out. So this is one of the flares that I need, one of the circle. Remember our waist was divided by 4, so I need 4 of these circles. So I'll go ahead and use this to cut out 4 circles. So if you open it out now, you can see that it's a complete full circle flare. So I'll need 4 of these. So I'll use this to cut out 4 on my lining as well as my main fabric. So I have cut out the flares, and I have 1, 2, 3, 4 for the lining, and for the main Ankara fabric I have 1, 2, 3 and 4. Okay, so this is folded, this is 2 together. Okay, so I have 4 for each, which makes it 8 different flares. Okay, 4 for lining and 4 for main fabric. So the next thing I'm going to do, remember this is still a full flare closed, I'm going to open each of them on one side so that I can join them together. So I'm just going to slash through them. Make sure you're just opening one side. The idea is for it to be opened like this, okay, so that you'll be able to join them. So I have cut these two. I'm going to go ahead and cut the next two as well, and then I'll do the same thing for the lining. So after opening it up on one side for the lining, I'm going to add my interfacing to it. Okay, so this helps the crinoline, especially if your fabric is not so strong. This helps the crinoline to form the shape very well. Okay, I don't want the shape of the crinoline to be looking awkward by the time I'm done. So I'm going to use this interfacing to stabilize it. So I'm going to go ahead now and fuse it to all of my lining flare. So you can do this after you have joined it, but because it's 1440, it may be a bit confusing. So I'm going to fuse my interfacing separately. It's still easier to control like this, especially for a beginner. So I'm going to fuse it to it first, and then after that I'm going to join all of the flares together. And when joining, you join your lining separately and then your main fabric separately. Okay, so the interfacing are fused to it now, to the 4 of the lining. So the next thing I'm going to do now is to take them to the sewing machine, and then I'm going to start joining them together. So you can see one end of that's where we open the open part. I'll go ahead and place them on each other and join. I'll take another flare and join to this, and then I'll take the last one and join. So I'm going to join the 4 flares together to make one single flare, and then I'm going to do the same thing to the main fabric as well. I'll go ahead and join all of them together where I opened it up to make a single flare. So all of the 4 flares are joined together now, as you can see. So this is where I joined them. So I've joined all of them together. I can see how voluminous it is now, and like I was explaining, even before adding our crinoline, you can see all these parts that you see that is folded now, they are not pleated. So you can see that they are still on a straight form, and because of the fullness of this flare, it just tends to have this wavy effect naturally. So you can see how wavy all of the flares are now, even without pleating or adding crinoline to it. Okay, so you can see the fullness that we have here and how it just keeps folding on its own even without splitting. So this is my main fabric as well. I have gone to join it. So the next thing I'm going to do now is to place my main fabric on top of my lining. And like I said, after joining it, it becomes voluminous, so you have to take your time. So you can use a pin to hold it. So you do them flare by flare, stage by stage. So you can see me now also trying to isolate one flare so that it's not going to be too overwhelming for me. So again, just like I did for the lining, I'm going to take the first flare as well. Okay, try to detach it from the next one, and then I'm going to place it on my lining, main fabric on the lining, and then you spread it around. Make sure nothing is packing. Okay, you can see how I'm using my hand to spread it. Then I'm going to pin it down. So I'll do this all around, and then after pinning everything all around, I'm going to bring in my crinoline, and then I'll sew it to the hem all around. Okay, so like I always say, when you're sewing your crinoline, it's very elastic. As you can see, you don't need to drag it. So once you are turning your flare, because of its elasticity, it's just going to follow you the way you want. So I'm going to place it like this. So I'm going to place it on the lining side, and then I'm going to sew round the hem of this flare. So I'll do this now and bring it back to show us what we have. Okay, so I have held it with pins so that I can have it stable together. Okay, you can see how bulky it is now. I'm going to try to just arrange them one after the other, circle by circle, so that you're not going to get confused. Then after that, I placed my crinoline on the lining part. Okay, and then I sew my crinoline to the hem all round, as you have seen. And on the sides, you go ahead and then close it on the outer side. That's the part that is open, the part where you did not join any flare together. So you join the side so that I can seal it up. Now I'm going to remove all of my pins, and then I'll turn this out so that I can go ahead and iron it. So I've gone ahead to iron it, and you can see how flat it is looking. So ironing it can be a bit difficult as well because of the fullness. So what you do is iron in bits first. Okay, you just take them bit by bit and iron. Then you can now fold them, so you can see the way how small it is looking. I've gone ahead to fold the 4 flares on top of each other. They are still joined. You can see it's still a single flare. You can see that they are still joined, but I just arranged it in a way that everything can fall on each other. So you arrange the first one wherever it is that your fourth flare stops. Okay, so you arrange it, make sure that it is flat as possible. So this is where the first flare stops. I just folded the second flare on top of the first flare, and then I arrange that as well so that I can give it a very good press. You need to iron it very well, especially once you put your crinoline. It's going to be looking rough and puffy, so you need it to be flat. So you just arrange everything on top of each other, make sure nothing is packing, make sure they are all lying flat, and then you further use your iron to press it down so that you can have something this flat and neat. So this is what I have now. This is what it looks like. You can see, even when I was holding it up, you can see how it just keeps rolling and rolling on its own. So this is what it looks like. So this is what your 144° does. It comes wavy on its own. So you can see the cascading effect that this is just giving us, even without without pleating on anything. So you can see how it just keeps folding and folding just on its own without pleating. So you can see the radius, you can see the waistline, that it is not pleated. I can see how it is just folding on its own like that. So that is how you make your 144° peplum. Okay, so this is what it looks like. You can see that on the radius area it is not pleated, and you can see how it just keeps folding and folding on its own. So a 1440° peplum just it becomes wavy on its own because of the fullness. Okay, because of the fullness of the flare. Remember, we joined 4 flares together to get this. So this is what it looks like. You can see how wavy this is. I hope you enjoy making this beautiful tutorial with me. If you enjoyed this, let us know in the comment section. Like, comment, and subscribe to our channel. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye.